Ruchi. So glad to have you here. The floor is all yours.
Namaste. Good afternoon. I congratulate all the brave women and men of the Lions Club who have organized today's symposium titled I Believe in Her. It's a tribute not just to the women you believe in the her, but a tribute to yourselves. That you have decided to identify who you believe in, what you believe in, and who you stand by. Today in India, we have some of the most marginalized girls and women in the world. Women are in danger from the time they are born to the time that they die. When conceived, statistics show that they are in danger from feticide. There are innumerable clinics in Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Gurgaon, Noida, where we know a family can take a pregnant woman for amniocentesis. And should the fetus be a girl, then enough pressure could be put on her to get an abortion. The refrain being, it's a girl. Sometimes the pressure is forced, very violent, and sometimes it's more subtle. Should the girl survive feticide, she could very easily become the victim of infanticide. Born a girl, her family members may not want her. They may donate her to a hospital nurse and say they'll find some place to keep her. And the hospital nurse might abandon her to brothels, sell her for adoption, or to a begging chain. Or the girl could simply be poisoned, put into a hole, and die. And this does happen in our country right now. In Bihar, in Rajasthan, in Haryana, and many other states. I can keep counting the states. The most prosperous of the states and the most poorest of the states. Even then, if she gets past the infanticide, she is likely to be kept at home and not sent to school. She is likely to be told that she has to help with the chores in the family. She can watch her brother taking the school bus, while she has to help her mother fetch the water, clean the house, help with cooking, looking after the cattle, and on and on. Should she be sent to school? She could very easily be pulled out when she's 10 or 12 years old, the moment she menstruates. That going to school could be dangerous for her. Or now she is grown up at the age of 12. And so therefore she should become a woman overnight. And immediately her family members start looking for a husband for her. Her body is not fully developed, but she is considered ready for marriage. Married at the age of 12 or 13, very often to a man much older than her. She is sexually abused inside a marriage because her body is not physically ready for sex. But socially, she is not considered to be sexually abused. With the repeated rapes which happen to her inside her marriage, she ends up pregnant in the first 2 or 3 years, even before she turns 18. And again, the statistics in our country and all of South Asia are high, where women die of maternal mortality. That means giving birth to a child. Many people here are from Nepal. UN statistics say that the highest numbers of maternal mortality are in Nepal and Afghanistan. Should she even survive child marriage or not get married? Very often she could be pushed into domestic servitude or, in our country, into something that Sangeeta mentioned when she introduced me, into prostitution. Because her parents could not afford a dowry, or her parents could not afford the marriage expenses. Kept locked up inside a brothel for 5 years, she is made to service about 10 customers a night. I have met girls who were from between the ages of 9 and 13 who were in these brothels in Bombay, 2 kilometers away from the sea, but they had never seen the sea. On my way here today, I was talking on the phone to a girl called Naina, who my organization, Apne Aap Women Worldwide, rescued 5 years ago. She was born in a brothel because her mother had been kidnapped from Kuch Bihar, prostituted in a brothel in Bihar, raped repeatedly, were forced to have a couple of children as soon as she was put into the brothel so that the children could be held hostage. And when she ran away, sure enough, her daughter Naina was kept as hostage by the brothel manager. And when Naina turned 12, she was prostituted, abused, raped repeatedly. There was one difference in her life, which is why I was able to talk to her on the phone today. She had a courageous mother. And she had the women of Apne who believed in her, just like all of you have today's slogan as I believe in her. We believed in Meena. Meena was the name of this courageous mother who joined Apne and who said, I want to rescue my daughter. The police doesn't listen to me. The judges don't listen to me. Can you help? We taught Meena how to file a police complaint. We escorted her to the police station. We forced the police who were not listening to Naina and Meena because they were poor, low-caste women to go with us to the brothels, and we got Naina out at the age of 14 and a half, 15. And Naina was in this very city being rehabilitated after she came out of a brothel in an organization called All Bengal's Women Union, where she learned to speak, read, write, find out who she was. And within the space of 3.5 years, today she uses Facebook. She can take a bus to work. She lives in Delhi, and she's found a boy who she's fallen in love with, and today she's getting married to him. And tomorrow, she says that she's going back to work because I told her I'm coming to Delhi tomorrow, so why can't I take you and your husband out for lunch? And she says, no, I have work in the office. I'll meet you on Sunday. So because a few women believed in her, Naina's mother was able to rescue her daughter and Naina was able to turn her life around. But she could have also been in the same cycle that I was talking about, of being in danger from the time she was conceived as a girl to the time she dies. And I just came up to the point of child marriage or prostitution. But then what happens when the woman becomes a little older? She could also be the victim of dowry. With increased consumerism and the increased commodification of women and girls, women are being traded into marriage. Dowry has become the system of barter, where a man or a family actually demands assets and cash because they think that with the girl they can get all of this because she's going to come into their home and live off the earnings of this man who's going to be the breadwinner. And the consumables, from the poorest of the poor to the richest of the rich, can range from a motorcycle, a gold chain, to transfer of full factories and businesses and shares in companies. Dowry doesn't affect the poor, dowry affects all of us. And how does rape get normalized in a city like Calcutta, which worships mother goddesses? Because a pedestal is as much a prison as anything else. We can put women on a pedestal as a mother goddess, or we can put her as a domesticated serf, and she can become a good woman. But a normal, mainstream, robust role for women is what is feared. A woman going to a nightclub, a woman walking on Park Street, a woman dancing. These are not images that are considered good. And because we do not consider these images good, what happens is that men get away with impunity. And I'm not talking about all men, because most men actually believe in equality and have very equal relationships with their daughters, with their wives, with their friends, sisters, mothers. And it is an insult to those men that the men who do not believe in equality are able to take the lead and get away with sexist comments and the devaluing of women. Because very often we are told men will be men, and especially in the context that I work in. I work with women and girls who are trafficked into prostitution at the ages of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The average age of entry into prostitution in India is 9 to 13 years old. This is a National Human Rights Commission statistic. Another horrifying statistic is the one by the Central Bureau of Investigation. There are 3 million women and girls trapped in prostitution right now. Each girl or woman, each female, is raped by customers at least 10 times a night. If you multiply that, 10 into 3 million, think of the number of rapes every night in our country. And what is the reason for that? The reason is the devaluing of girls. The reason is that people don't believe in girls or women. Many of you must have heard the refrain that of course a girl cannot earn, or a woman cannot earn as much as a man can. Or, oh, she's going to take maternity leave, so, how will I get my money's worth if I employ a woman? Or she's so busy dressing up and concentrating on her looks that will she be really contributing as a professional to our organization, to the work? And because of the devaluing, choices that women and girls have are taken away. Prostitution is absence of choice. Nobody chooses to be born a girl. Nobody chooses to be born poor, and nobody chooses to be born low caste. But prostitution is also about choices with impunity, because prostitution is a system which is based on both supply and demand. And I talked about the supply side a lot, that women are devalued, women are in danger, we are given less opportunities than men. But on the demand side are choices with impunity. The buyer who purchases sex and the business which makes money off the purchase of sex. The buyer in India is called a passenger, in America he's called a John. In slang inside the red light district, the women call the buyer passenger because he just comes and rides and goes away. And the business is of course formed of two people. What we popularly call a person a dalal, the agents, and the agents are recruiters, transporters, and then there are the pimps, and then there is the prostitution system inside the brothel manager, the brothel owner, the landlord, the money lender, and the organized criminal networks behind it. And the reason these traffickers exist, and the reason this business exists, is because there is a buyer. The whole prostitution system or the sex trafficking industry is actually a demand-driven industry. Fatima, a girl who was trafficked, told me, "Didi, ये धंधा कभी बंद नहीं हो सकता है जब तक ग्राहक रहेगा." So because there is a buyer, the trafficker finds enough poor, low caste girls who are vulnerable because of their lack of choices to prey upon in India, Nepal, Bangladesh, in all our countries. And what happens to these buyers? We don't even have a law which addresses them adequately. Because, back to the same refrain, men will be men. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it's an insult to most men because most men don't buy sex. So which men will be men? And how do we turn this around? Because where a girl is prostituted, another girl is married early, and the third woman is burnt for dowry, it's part of the same continuum. And it's in our interest to change that around. As relatively wealthy women with more choices, we feel, oh, it can't happen to us. Yes, of course our daughters cannot be pulled into prostitution and no trafficker can come and pull her into prostitution or prey upon her. But something more subtle can happen to our daughters. They may find themselves locked up in a society when they finish college where their choices are limited, where they don't understand how they can maintain a standard of living that they are used to without getting married. So how do we open up bigger platforms and more choices for these women and girls? Two ways. One is, of course, to work with men, to change how we think about women and girls. Because men are our best allies. Today, I am here speaking to you because I have had male friends, male relatives, a wonderful father who made sure I got the best of education and had the freedom to do what I wanted to. That's something I spoke about. So these men became my allies in a society which was largely devaluing women. So we need men to come forward to help us in believing in her, in standing by her. To not stay silent when other men try to devalue women. To not be sheepish or not feel that they will be called sissy because they stand by girls and women. We need them to speak up. On the issue of prostitution, we have in fact launched a campaign called Cool Men Don't Buy Sex. And this campaign is moving from university to university, college to college, and it's run by young male students who believe in a new India where sex is not about domination, but sex is about equality. Sex is a collaboration. It's not about exploitation. You can join this campaign too. You can actually go online onto our website on apneaap.org and sign on to the petition. We are going to be meeting the President of India to submit these signatures for the campaign, asking for a change in the Indian law where we want the male buyers of prostituted sex to be made accountable, to be punished, or sent to schools to rehabilitate them. Very often the conversation is around rehabilitating women and girls who are prostituted. But do we talk about rehabilitating the male buyers who are the sex addicts, who are trying to dominate women? The other thing that you can do, besides working with the men you know to take a stand, and of course joining our campaign, Cool Men Don't Buy Sex, is look around you in the places that you work. You're a service delivery organization, and in every place that you work, gender inequality is rampant. Every place that you work. And you can decide to work on both sides of the spectrum. What services can you provide? So on the supply side, where girls and women suffer from lack of choices, you can think about how can you contribute to increasing her choices. The right to education, the right to a sustainable and dignified livelihood, the right to legal protection, because very often one of the issues that women and girls face is that they don't get adequate legal protection when they stand up to the violence in their lives. Until 20 years ago, I'm sure you all know about this, that even domestic violence, there was no word for domestic violence. We were just told it's life. So you can take a stand on her right to education, right to safe and dignified livelihood, right to legal protection, and very, very importantly, the right to safe and independent housing. Now this also includes inheritance rights and property rights. Because women are marginalized and they suffer from lack of choices because they don't have access to these four things in different ways. And this ranges from the poorest of the poor girl to a rich girl. How much control does she have over her property? How much job training and career opportunities is she prepared for? What are her networks? How much education can she get? How much investment will be put into her education? And Apneaap, of course, can help you connect to organizations, credible organizations working on these issues in different districts, in different states, in different countries, because we have a wide network. At the same time, you also have to look at the demand side, the culture which normalizes rape, the culture which allows families to put pressure on women to abort their female fetuses, the culture which allows the practice of dowry, and the culture which allows our daughters to make choices which they don't really want to. And this you can do by holding men accountable, by speaking up, even if it's men you know, even if it upsets the apple cart, it's time to speak up. And with that, I thank you all for listening to me today and standing by women and girls by believing in her. Thank you.